Hey YouTube, Brian Knight here. Now, as a follow-up to the video that I'm uploading right now on easy mode not being the end of the world for gamers. Now, let's just take a step back. I want to address something right now. I am not championing easy mode. Am I saying that there's a place for it? Yes. But also at the same time, it has some issues as far as social. Now, if this was the only situation where you had stuff like easy mode and all that, all right, fine. You know, that would be okay. But I do need to address a social issue that comes along with the easy mode. And that is, you end up having these kids playing this easy mode and that sort of thing. And it's more me being worried about kids. Not so much people with physical disabilities or anything like that. I fully understand it, and I'm not saying that, you know, it shouldn't be there for them. Anyone could go ahead and use the easy mode, but I've talked about this before in one of my other videos. I forget which one. But, you know, there's this thing called entitlement culture that you hear being thrown around. And the thing is it's not inaccurate. And a lot of people are, you know, pointing to sports groups at schools giving out participation trophies. So even if someone was absolutely shit and strictly detrimental to their team, they still get a trophy. Even if they may have cost their team the win. Now, that is a problem. You should not reward someone for being a burden. Or should I say, at least, you shouldn't reward someone for being a burden to their team. I mean, you're supposed to be a burden for the other team. You know, you're supposed to actively stop them from succeeding. That's, you know, part of competition, right? But the thing is you've got that. And easy mode is actually just kind of the video game equivalent at that point. You know, it's them running through the easy mode. Now, easy mode has been a thing for a long time, but there were a lot of downfalls with easy mode. Some games would sit there and hold back the real ending of the game if you were on easy mode. And it would tell you that it was holding it back. Or it would give you the shittiest ending. So people sitting there and going, oh, well, the ending for that game was absolute crap. Nah, nah, nah. You know, then you knew that they're one of those people that only plays through on easy and didn't play through on the hard mode. You know, it was a way of them kind of outing themselves, and then they got some shit for it. But right now, it's one of those situations of you are setting people up for disappointment. Should I say you're setting kids up for disappointment? Grown-ass adults will understand that if you only play on the easy mode and then you jump in to a similar game that doesn't have that easy mode or that invincibility mode, you're probably going to get your ass kicked because you haven't really learned the basics. Or should I say, you've learned the basics, but you haven't learned how to actually utilize them in an effective way. You think you have, but the same tricks that work when you're invincible won't work when you're not. So, that is a problem. Now, Mario, I think, does it the right way as far as even the Mario Kart thing is concerned. I think that's the right way to do it, because the thing is it adds its own challenge in its own right. Like, I could see people throwing on the steering assist to make the game more challenging, to keep them from using those shortcuts and making them actually outrace the NPCs, who are fucking insane on the harder difficulties. So, I mean, just imagine setting the difficulty all the way up to the top and then put that auto steering on so you can't use the shortcuts. So now you just have to straight up outrace them. That would be insane. Someone doing that would get more props from me because they don't get the boost through the corners. They can't use the shortcuts. Damn. All right? That's going to take some skill and some luck. But then you've got, you know, single player games where, you know, you get an invincibility mode and it literally just kills off the fucking challenge. Now, the thing is Dark Souls, even on easy mode, is like medium or maybe even the first level of hard mode for most games out there. So the easy mode for Dark Souls, at that point, it's just allowing people to have a little bit of a more gentle introduction. You know, if they haven't played the Dark Souls series, you know, it pops the cherry a little gentler. But, you know, some people are for that, some people are against that. Whatever. I've already made my opinion on that clear in the previous video. But games that sit there and give you the participation trophy, basically, in the form of an easy mode where you're absolute shit at the game and you're not even striving to get better at it, yet it sits there and still praises you and that sort of thing, that's an issue. And a lot of people will sit there and go, well, back in my day, I'm not going to do that. I'm talking about the here and now. I'm not talking about the past. If I talked about the past, I would talk about how games, you know, told you fucked up or that you sucked with fanfare. But nowadays, it's more of a, hey, you didn't quite do it. You want to try again? Which is fine. But now you've got the situation of them sitting there and taking out all the challenge and going, oh, you're fucking awesome, you're the greatest ever. No, they're not. Stop fucking lying. You can definitely see this on fighting games where you set the difficulty down to the easiest setting, and then you see someone that did that for the final boss each time because they just couldn't beat the final boss on the normal mode. And then they go online and they get their ass absolutely fucking wrecked, not even getting one hit on their opponent. Like I said, that easy mode sets people up for disappointment. It sets them up for future failure. And the thing is if it's in front of another person, now you're setting them up for embarrassment and humiliation. Especially if they're talking up their skills saying, oh, I beat the game this fast. You know, people are all like, oh, okay, well then you're good at the game. And so they go all out on you and you don't even put up a fight. So either they're going to figure out that you were on the easy mode, or they're going to think that you're just a flat out liar. Not a good situation. And how does this pertain to the social element? Well, again, it's continuing along the theme of people being afraid to tell kids that they have failed at something. If they don't know that they have failed at something, if they don't know that they could be doing better, or that they need to strive to do better, then that lesson, or lack thereof, carries forward into their adult life. Now, am I saying that if a kid plays on easy mode that they're going to automatically grow up to be a self-entitled little prick that wants to put in no effort and is going to become a welfare rat? No. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is it doesn't help. Doesn't exactly improve their odds of not becoming that. Now, I just want to point out that I don't have a problem with easy mode in and of itself, just like I said in my previous video. But there needs to be some sort of negative that comes along with using easy mode, such as maybe not getting the full story of the game. You have to bump it up to the next difficulty, showing that you have actually been honing those skills and that easy mode was the training wheels, so to speak. Like, I don't have a problem with training wheels. I don't have a problem with bumpers. As Jim Sterling put it on, I don't have a problem with bumpers at a bowling alley. Not unless it's something that's negatively impacting my game. Like, if I'm down bowling, I play with a pretty extreme hook. I have my own bowling ball and so on and so forth. And I play with a very extreme hook. I play with what's called a flare ball. In other words, that ball goes down, goes down, goes down, and then when it hits the grip point at the end of the lane, then it hooks almost completely sideways. So that means my ball's usually either right at the edge, with the outer edge of my ball over the gutter, if my ball isn't riding the fucking edge, like actually somewhat off of the edge before it hooks. So those bumpers provide a real issue for me. So if the bumpers don't go down when it's my time to throw, now I have to change up my entire play style on the fly. And anyone who bowls knows bowling is more about consistency than it is about physical strength or anything else. You have to figure out what the oil pattern is, which if you're really good, you can look at your ball and figure out the oil pattern. You know, not only your ball going down the lane and how it acts at that point, but also physically looking at the ball and the oil streak that's on the ball. But then also at the same time, it's about consistency. When you release the ball in your throw, how many steps you take, how wide those steps are, you know, how far you lean when you throw the ball, the position of your hand, arm, and wrist. You need that consistency there if you want to be consistently good. So forcing someone who knows how to do it to change up their game, not because of the oil pattern that happens to be on the lane that day, but because someone else lacks the skill to not throw the ball into the gutter, then people have a right to bitch about it. But like I said, I don't inherently have an issue with it. I mean, especially when it's a kid bowling, you know? Because, I mean, bowling, you want the kid to have fun, but once, you know, someone gets to a certain age and I see them using bumpers, I'm like, really? Come the fuck on. You should be able to figure this out on your own. I mean, how about this? You're fucking 13 or 14 years old, stop granny bowling. Actually put your fingers in the fucking holes and hold the ball properly and fucking throw the ball properly. You know, even if you're sitting there and doing the flamboyant throw, what I've heard it called, you know, because, you know, it makes you kind of look like you're getting ready to go, hey, you know. But even if you're doing that, it's still better than granny bowling. You're at least somewhat getting there. And at that point, you're not going to need the bumpers. And you're not going to be impeding someone else. Now, if you want to go ahead and do that, and all of your friends are using bumpers, fine, go ahead, but don't expect to ever get good at the game. If you're there just to have fun, fine. And if having fun just means you hitting those pins, regardless of what's going on, alright, fine. But don't impede someone else. And don't expect other people to take it easy on you or to praise you for using said bumpers. Or to say that you're just as good as someone else on the fucking lane. Let's just be completely honest here. It's not the same thing. And people don't want other people pointing that out because they're afraid that it might hurt the person's confidence. Guess what? That confidence wasn't earned anyway. It's valueless. It's a lie. Now, if someone's actually good at the game, has taken the time to learn how to do it, then that confidence is earned. Then that confidence isn't a lie. But if you have the game doing 3/4 of everything for you, and you're trying to say that you're good at the game, you're not. You absolutely are not. It's like sitting there and saying you're good at a game with cheats activated. You're not. You're not good at the game. The cheats are good. It's like someone going online to an online match using an aimbot and saying, oh yeah, look at my KD ratio. It's a fucking lie. That's not your KD ratio. That's your aimbot's KD ratio. Because as soon as you take that off, as soon as you're not allowed to use that, all of a sudden your KD ratio is going to be less than a 1-1. Sorry, but that's just how it works. Because you get used to relying on that crutch. How often do you see adults using training wheels on a bike? Almost never. Well, the reason for that is they probably used training wheels when they were younger, when they were first starting out, until they got the general idea of it, and then they took the training wheels off. Did they fall? Yes, of course they did. I don't know a single person who got those training wheels taken off of their bike and then never fell afterward. I don't know a single fucking person. And if someone says that, I'm going to be skeptical of them. Unless they say, yeah, I never fell because I stopped riding the fucking bike. Then I'll believe it. But then I can, be a prick that really goes down to the finer details. It's like, yeah, but I know you've tripped and fell. So you didn't even have to be on a bike and you still fell off, you loser. I can do that. I don't. Not unless it's with one of my friends and I'm just giving them a hard fucking time. But, like I said, easy mode isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's how you handle it. That's where it can become a bad thing. Don't sit there and tell someone that they're excellent at a fucking game if they're using the easy mode, because they're not. Now, if someone beats the game on hard mode, with highest mark and, that sort of thing, or if they're one of those psychos that ran through Mega Man and managed to do it without getting hit once throughout the entire fucking game, then yeah, okay, they're fucking awesome at the game. Or hell, people who just beat it on hard mode without having to have used a continue. Like, even if they did take a few hits here and there, they're still fucking excellent at the game. A person on easy mode on a game where it's impossible for you to die, you can't say they're excellent at the game because they had no way of failing. So I can see where people have an issue with the idea of easy mode. A lot of them are going to be the same people that are going to have issues with participation trophies in schools, where the kid who sat there, is out playing fucking soccer and their teammates pass the ball to them, not because they want to, but because the coach said that you have to be inclusive. You have to pass the ball to them at least so many times a fucking game. They pass the ball to the kid, and the kid sit there and all of a sudden panic because he gets the fucking ball and starts running the ball down the opposite way towards their own goal and kicks it into their own goal. That little motherfucker shouldn't be getting a trophy. That little motherfucker should be getting told, maybe this isn't the sport for you. Goodbye. That's a good life lesson to teach. Is it harsh? Yes it is. But guess what? Life is harsh. So the life lessons need to be harsh. Because sitting there and saying, oh yeah, well you tried. If they have only that aspect highlighted to them, when they go in and they get that first job, right? They're saying they're excellent at it and that sort of thing. Boss hires them, and then they're fucking up on every last fucking thing. And the boss goes, look, you need to fucking improve. You need to improve or I'm gonna fire you. This is your last warning. And then the person gets fired. They're gonna be all like, well, why did they fire me? I didn't, you know. That is the problem. And I know that that's an extreme thing, you know, saying, oh, well, it's all on this one thing. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if that's a consistent theme going up through their schooling, going up through them being raised as a child and a young adult, if they don't taste failure, then guess what? They're not going to know that they can fail. And they're not going to know what failure feels like. So the first time that they feel that failure, it's going to be an issue. They're not going to know how to handle it. They're not going to react like an adult, which is going to make the situation worse. So, just wanted to go ahead, bring up that point, and make sure that I'm saying it in as plain of English as I can. Even though I know there's probably still going to be one person at some point down the road tripping across this video trying to say, oh, well, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's talking about. I grew up in that thing. I got participation trophies and I still understand what it's like to fail. I don't know. Whatever. Honestly, it's all like, yeah, I know you know what it's like to fail because you're an adult now. I'm talking about that first experience, or should I say the first few experiences with it. And not to mention, you may know what it feels like to fail, but do you know what it really feels like to succeed? Or do you know what it's like to succeed based on a lie? Because those are two very, very different things.